They told him to man up. Don't cry, don't feel, don't break. And he listened. But what if I told you? The strong, silent man, the stoic figure society has exalted for centuries, is a carefully constructed myth. A beautifully dangerous illusion that's quietly breaking men from the inside out. Welcome to the channel where we dig deep into the hidden layers of men and masculinity, exploring what it means to be a man in a world that rarely asks men how they feel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today's journey will change the way you see manhood forever. Now let me ask you something that may haunt you long after this video ends. When was the last time you saw a man cry? Really cry. Not a tear in a movie, not a quick choke up at a funeral, but soul-ripping, wall-shattering grief. Chances are, you haven't. And there's a reason for that. But it's not the reason we've been led to believe. The world has built a fortress around men's hearts, brick by brick, generation after generation. But where did this idea come from? That emotion equals weakness? That a man's worth is tied not to what he feels, but to what he can suppress? To understand that, we need to travel back, way back. Ancient Greece, the cradle of Western civilization. In the writings of Aristotle and Plato, you'll find pages on virtue, courage, and rationality. The ideal man, they argued, was ruled by reason, his emotions kept tightly under control. Stoicism flourished in this age, the belief that virtue comes from inner discipline and mastery over one's passions. It was noble, admirable, but beneath the surface, it planted a seed that would bloom into the modern idea that emotions are not only unmanly, they are dangerous. Fast forward centuries later, the rise of industrialization. Men were sent into coal mines, factories, battlefields. The world didn't ask how they felt. It demanded that they endure. The ideal man became a tool of function, productivity, survival, not feeling. Emotions, that was a luxury. That was for women, for the weak. And this lie got louder. By the 20th century, the emotionless archetype was everywhere. Hollywood gave us John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, the hard-nosed cop who never flinched, the cowboy who never cried. Our heroes were tough, unbreakable, unemotional, and boys watched, and boys listened. We learned early, if you're a man and you hurt, bury it. If you break, hide it. And if you cry, you're not a real man. But what does that do to a person? What happens to a generation of men who are praised for being impenetrable, but punished for being human? Science has answers, and they're chilling. Studies in psychology reveal that men are just as emotionally complex as women. Their limbic systems, the brain's emotional center, are just as active. They feel stress, fear, love, shame just as deeply. But society teaches them one skill above all others: emotional suppression. The result? A pressure cooker. The American Psychological Association reports that men are less likely to seek help for mental health, less likely to talk about depression, more likely to die by suicide. Think about that. In many countries, men make up over 75% of suicides. Not because they're weaker, but because they're silenced. Let that sink in. This isn't just a cultural issue. It's a health crisis. It's a spiritual crisis. And yet still, somewhere deep inside the collective unconscious, we continue to push the myth that masculinity means detachment, distance, dominance over emotion. But here's the twist. The story doesn't end there, because cracks are forming in the myth, and they're letting the light in. Visual, a father weeping as he holds his newborn, a teenager opening up to his friend. Let me tell you about Thomas. Thomas was raised by a father who never hugged him, never said, "I love you." The first time Thomas cried in front of someone, he was 13. His soccer coach pulled him aside and said, "Real men don't cry. Be tough." So Thomas became tough. He got the job, the girl, the house. But inside, he was a storm. Every time he felt overwhelmed, he'd retreat, get angry, numb himself with alcohol. He didn't know how to talk. He didn't know how to feel. He only knew how to lock it all away. Until one night, his 5-year-old son walked into the room and asked, "Daddy, why don't you smile anymore?" That broke him. And in that breaking, something healed. Thomas cried, not just tears, but years. And in doing so, he rewrote a story passed down by generations. Because when a man learns to feel, he doesn't become weaker, he becomes free. But here's the tragedy: Thomas is the exception. Most men are still trapped in a prison with invisible bars. A prison made of silence, stoicism, and shame. And the worst part? They don't even know they're in one. This isn't just a personal story, it's systemic. Think about how we raise boys. We tell them to toughen up, to grow a pair, to stop acting like a girl. These words may sound harmless, but they're not. They're programming. We are teaching young men that emotion equals failure, vulnerability equals weakness, that their worth is based on how much they can endure without cracking. But that's not strength, that's trauma with good posture, and it's killing us. But what if we flipped the script? What if we told a new story? One where men could be both strong and sensitive, brave and broken, warriors and healers. Because here's the truth: emotion is not the enemy of masculinity. It is its birthplace. Let me take you to the trenches of World War I. Amid the mud and blood and horror, men wrote poetry, letters, journals. They wept for fallen brothers. They sang lullabies in the dark. They weren't any less masculine for it. They were more human. And yet when they returned home, they were told to forget, to move on, to man up. The emotional war didn't end in the trenches. It followed them home. It never stopped, and it hasn't stopped today. But the tide is turning. There's a quiet revolution happening. In living rooms, in barbershops, in therapy offices, in YouTube videos like this one. Men are talking. Men are crying. Men are finally being seen, not as machines, but as multidimensional beings. But this revolution is fragile. It needs protection, it needs fuel, and it needs you. So let me ask again. When was the last time you saw a man cry? And what did you feel in that moment? Pity? Discomfort? Respect? Because your answer might tell you just how deep the myth has its claws in you. But here's the good news. Myths can be broken. And in the next part of this journey, we'll reveal how. How the myth was reinforced through modern culture. How men are beginning to reclaim their emotional lives. And how you, yes, you, can be part of a movement that reshapes masculinity for generations to come. The truth is far more powerful than the lie. So how did we let this happen? How did a world filled with complex, emotional, richly feeling boys become a society of emotionally starved men? The answer starts with a mirror. Because this myth isn't just built by men, it's enforced by everyone. Mothers who tell their sons to be strong instead of feel safe. Teachers who reward silence in boys but comfort tears in girls. Friends who mock vulnerability. Lovers who say, "I need a man, not a boy," the moment a partner shows emotional need. It's subtle, but it's everywhere, even in pop culture, the very stories we tell. Think of James Bond, Jason Bourne, Batman. Men who have lost everything, but never cry, never talk. They act, they fight, they seduce, they suffer alone. We've turned emotional repression into entertainment. And then we wonder why our real men are drowning in isolation. But not all cultures drink the same poison. Among the Maori of New Zealand, warrior rituals involve emotional storytelling and ancestral mourning. In many Native American traditions, men lead communal weeping ceremonies, seeing tears not as shame, but as sacred. Even ancient samurai were poets, artists, deeply expressive men who saw honor in emotion. So ask yourself, if so many ancient civilizations accepted men's emotionality, why did we erase it? Maybe the real question is, who benefits when men stay silent? A man who feels deeply is harder to control. He questions, he breaks cycles, he refuses to pass down pain like an inheritance. He protects, but not just with fists, with compassion. And that kind of man scares systems built on dominance. But we're living in a new age now, one where silence is no longer sustainable. The data is alarming. men are facing higher rates of heart disease, addiction, and suicide. Not because they're biologically weaker, but because unprocessed emotion always finds a way to surface. It leaks into anger. It festers in resentment. It explodes in violence, or quietly corrodes from within. So what can be done? The first step is breaking the silence. Let me tell you about Malik. He was a 29-year-old electrician in Detroit, a quiet guy. Didn't share much, had friends, a girlfriend, a good job. No one saw the signs. Until one night, he sat in his car and didn't come home. Later, his family found a note. It wasn't long, just 5 words. I didn't know I could. 5 words. 5 devastating words. He didn't know he could talk. He didn't know he could cry. He didn't know he could ask for help. Because the world told him he shouldn't. And he believed it. Malik became a statistic. But he should have been a father, a husband, a mentor, a builder of things. Instead, he became a memory. A ghost in the system. And here's the haunting part. There are thousands like him, every single day. But there is hope. The script is changing. More men are entering therapy. More boys are being taught emotional literacy. Celebrities and athletes are opening up about their struggles. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson speaking about depression. Kevin Love breaking the silence in the NBA. Prince Harry talking openly about therapy and trauma. Each voice that speaks cracks the myth a little more, but it's not enough to just hear these stories. We must internalize them. We must start rewriting our own. It begins in the small moments. When a father tells his son, "It's okay to cry." When a friend texts back, "Talk to me." When a man stands in a mirror, sees the pain in his own eyes. And instead of turning away, he stays. He breathes. He allows it. And he chooses not to numb it this time. That's strength. That's masculinity. Raw. Present. Real. But we still have work to do. Because masculinity itself is at a crossroads. One path leads deeper into the myth, into false pride, emotional starvation, generational trauma. The other path, it's harder, more vulnerable, but infinitely more powerful. It's the path where men embrace their full selves, not just the armored shell, but the heart beneath it. It's the path where we stop asking men to be emotionless soldiers and instead honor them as emotional warriors. And here's where you come in. If you're a man watching this right now, maybe you felt it. That weight in your chest, that ache behind your eyes, that tightening in your throat when someone asks, "How are you?" Maybe you've been silent for years. Maybe no one ever taught you how to speak. But hear this. You are not broken. You are not weak. You were never supposed to carry it all alone. And if you're someone who loves a man, whether it's your son, your partner, your friend, your father, ask yourself, when did I last make space for him to feel? Have I rewarded his silence more than his vulnerability? Because this myth, the emotionless man, it doesn't collapse on its own. It shatters when we look at each other and say, "I see you. I hear you. And I'm not afraid of your truth." That's how we heal. That's how we win. One conversation at a time, one tear at a time, one man at a time. We were never meant to be machines. We were meant to be human, and being human means feeling. So the next time someone tells you real men don't cry, you look them in the eye and say, "No, real men do cry, and that's why we survive." Because in the end, masculinity isn't about how much pain you can bury. It's about how much truth you can carry. And now, it's your turn. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below if this spoke to you. And if you're ready to keep breaking the myth, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. This is more than a channel. This is a movement, a rebellion against silence, and the beginning of a more honest manhood. Stay strong, stay real, and remember, your emotions were never your enemy. They were your power all along.